What is the best mobile game of all time? Squad, I cannot begin to tell you how much I used to play games all the time on my phone. A lot of them were very fun and low-key addicting because for the most part, I would usually play mobile games to pass some time, you know, when I get bored suddenly or if I'm traveling on my way to work, and I just couldn't stop sometimes. So I figured we go through some of the peak games that we all know of and even played ourselves. This won't necessarily be a top 10 or 5 list because I don't know what criteria to differentiate and compare others, so I'd rather just go based on which were significant during its heyday and the most popular. To be clear, most if not all the ones I will name are categorized as free games, although you can spend money for add-ons in them, but it doesn't cost you anything to download and play. Now back to the list, starting off with Among Us. I didn't know it had originally launched back in 2018 because the first time I started playing it was during the pandemic. That is where Among Us popped the hell off. It makes perfect sense as everyone was cooped up inside their house during that time, so like why not? But basically with this, you have a space themed game where you can play minimum to 4 and a maximum of 15 players all thrown into one gigantic map. There are certain tasks that you need to complete, which each one is different of course, but you all need to get it done in time because there is an imposter among the group, and it is up to the group to sift out who it is by chatting amongst each other, recalling where they last were in a dialogue box, and have to be able to evade witnesses before they go and call an emergency meeting to snitch on them. At the time I was playing, I know if I was to have a big game of 15 players, there could be a maximum of 3 imposters, which honestly made it more fun for me. The games will last longer, the suspense will be exhilarating as people would challenge themselves to be the last remaining members. The only thing I hated about Among Us was the amount of times people would call meetings just to bullshit. Now this was primarily right at the beginning, like of the pandemic. A lot of players will falsely accuse others of being the imposter when it wasn't true. When the game just started too, by the way, it was very annoying and low-key made them suspect in my eyes. Plus the chat at the time was crazy. You would have players all over the world join in, and so many people would come in and say the most random and irrelevant things. Of course you had the trolls, idiots promoting their social medias like, dude, are you that desperate? From what I understand, the game has fixed a lot of that stuff by now, so I gotta get back on it and play it again. Next we have Pokemon Go. Now this was a historic game, I'm not gonna lie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we ever had a game with a concept like this before, where essentially you combine an open world game of Pokemon with the real world and live action. So at any moment you can pop open the app, see live Pokemon right in front of you and attempt to catch them. Bizarre. When this game was released back in 2016, the world went absolutely crazy. You'd be surprised to find someone who wasn't playing it. Now during the launch of Go, Generation 1 Pokemon were the first to be included in the game, and of course people like me had their eyes set on capturing legendaries and shinies, especially Mewtwo. As you would expect, the game has far developed since then, and there are now over 600 to 700 Pokemon now, with more being added. Similar to the Pokemon games, with Go, players can travel to different parts of the map by moving around with the phone in real time, locating Pokemon. An in-game battle system so you can take on gym leaders and gain experience points. Just the perfect game that actually made people more productive and actually go outside. Then of course you had the major problem, which I don't know if the company thought about this being a possibility back then, but it did happen. There were a lot of accidents, many of them car crashes in the street involving people who were playing this game. Robberies, all sorts of crazy stuff would happen to people who had their eyes glued to their phone screen playing this game. It was such a problem that even governments around the world had to step in and regulate the use of Pokemon Go. That's crazy. No doubt Pokemon Go was and still is an addicting game and has to make consideration for the best mobile game of all time. Now the next ones coming up in my opinion are more nostalgic than anything. These games came out during the time that I was in high school and they are still around today. Games like Temple Run, Subway Surfers, Geometry Dash, I mean the list goes on and on. Either way, your boy had them all in the phone, alright, taking up all that storage. These games have been dominating for a long time and still are played today. I guess it's more to do with the concept though. Being chased or having to get through semi to hard difficult obstacles is fun to a lot of people. I also see it more of a challenge also, especially Geometry Dash. That game I need to emotionally check in for real. After each level, it gets progressively worse and I find myself sweating fingers just to get to the next level. Frustrating as hell too. Got a motherfucker looking like Speed out here when I keep on dying.
Come on, please! Please! I beat it! W's in the chat!
Subway Surfers is more of a relaxed and chill game as the character is jumping from train to train, collecting money to reach a higher score. This game has influenced a very dangerous trend in society though, where people are actually trying to replicate it by jumping on actual trains trying to stay on top. The other day, squad, I swear to Allah, I seen someone do this. Bruh, get your ass off that thing. That is beyond insane. People would do anything for some damn attention and it's not even worth losing your life over this. Facts. You have other mobile related games like Minecraft, which is one of the best selling games ever. I never played Minecraft though, and the squad has begged me to play it for a while now. I'll definitely play it when I get around to it. But by the way, notice how most of the greatest mobile games in history were released around this time. That early 2010s era was significant because it introduced different styles of games that were primarily user-friendly, that literally anyone can play, wasn't difficult to learn, very addicting at the same time. Which leads me to the last game remaining, one that you all know of and most likely played at one point, and squad, that is Candy Crush. Originally launched back in 2012. This game has dominated ever since then. It is one of the most addicting games I've ever played in my life. The most simple to learn, as all you need to do in order to get to the next level is connect at least 3 or more of the same color candies on a tile board. Of course, you must complete the whole board before time is up, but much of this concept is based on previous games such as Bejeweled, which is another classic, by the way. Testing players' skills to match gems in a quick-paced manner in under a minute in order to get the highest score possible. Much of the success of Candy Crush is due to that lively feeling that you get when having to matchmake as much as possible and reach higher scores you can show up to other people. Get new incentives on the app. Very user-friendly for me when I was playing it. Honestly, it was just the ultimate stress relief for some reason. I can just escape from whatever I was going through at the time by settling down and playing this. Millions of other players I'm sure got that feeling. This of course is reflected in the game's numbers for sure. Like, this is crazy when you think about it. Did y'all know that during Candy Crush's prime peak, this thing was earning $1 million per day, amassed over 3 billion downloads within the first 5 years of the series while being the most played mobile apps of all time. That is unbelievable. By far one of the best games, squad. How can I not have chosen this to take the top spot? But let me know, how do you feel about this? Are there any other mobile games that should have deserved consideration of being the best? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for supporting the community. Make sure to subscribe so that you get notified every time we put up videos. And I'll see you all next time.